Hey, what's good? This video is called 15 Sacrifices You Need to Make If You Want to Be Rich. Let me guess, number one is pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Or you can do what a lot of today's politicians have done and just wait for your parents to give it to you. Let's check out this video from Alux. I'm going to be working on this character drawing for a travel video. Before we get into it, remember to go to coconutjustice.com to get you some clothes that I think would look good on you. Let's go. And before we get all the way into it, if you guys are wondering, I have my iPad and this is Procreate, one of the apps that I use for illustrations and stuff. But for now, this is 15 sacrifices you need to make if you want to be rich. Let's get this learn on.
Hey there, my friend. Now in this video, we're going to be looking at reality, not wishful thinking, okay? We recommend rewatching this video at least once every month in order to not lose track of what it takes. Because the truth is, in order to get rich or super successful, there are plenty of sacrifices to be made. Success or riches always come at a cost, and if you're on your journey to getting them for yourself, well, it's best to be aware of these and plan accordingly. Because getting rich is not for everyone. You're free to live a mediocre life if that's what you want. We're not going to pretend that life is filled with rainbows and sunshine because it isn't.
It's okay for you to be lazy and to not really reach for it. But what we're learning is if you do that, you're going to get left behind. You're not going to have health insurance. You won't have a house. That is a terrible thing to say. Because what we're taught is you got to get up every morning and work real hard and all that stuff. But then eventually when you make it, everyone that's made it, they seem to turn their back on the people that haven't yet. You're not allowed in those neighborhoods. You're not allowed in those schools. You're not, you know what I'm saying? That's how they get you. That's how they get you. Because in America, you're free to do whatever you want. But if you're lazy, they don't care about you. Or not even if you're lazy. Like there's some people that I know that are fine having an office job, stuff like that. Like not everybody, what she's saying, it might be true. Not everybody's built to go and be an entrepreneur and stuff. But to me, I don't think that it's okay for an entrepreneur to go and make it all big and then not turn back and give back to the nation that built them or that gave them the scaffolding to become whoever it is that they decided to become. And what we're seeing is there's generations of rich people that go and they do their thing and then they pass all that money on to their kids and then their kids and then their kids. And what I know for a fact is when people have money, even if they didn't work for it, even if it was just handed to them, they instantly think that they're better than you. Instantly. And there's a lot of you guys that keep falling for this foolishness. It's kind of like when I talk to people about the United States and how it should be run kind of like the NFL. You have the overarching NFL, but then the NFL kind of makes sure that all of the teams or all the cities, all the states they have what they need to become successful. If you have more things becoming successful, the more successful you will be as a nation. That's why it's important to educate your population to have them be the ones that are qualifying for jobs and they're setting the pace. But no, in America, you pull yourself up by the bootstraps, even though everyone who tells you that has been given something by their parents. And then when you get to a certain level, then you don't qualify for jobs anymore, but now you don't qualify for loans and stuff because you don't have a job, so you can't really reach out. You can't really push the envelope. You can't really rock the boat because you don't have the resources it takes. And not all of us have rich parents that are going to give you the money to make you feel like you're that person, right? There's a lot of corny ass rich people out here thinking that they are and they can think what they want. They have you guys convinced that they're on your team, and they're just not. Rich people hang out with rich people. Rich people don't give a damn about you. Your well-being is not in their to-do list. That's why they tell you dumb shit like pull yourself up by the bootstraps. And then we're going to learn 15 sacrifices that you need to make. Meanwhile, they don't make 15 sacrifices. Elon Musk has never made sacrifices. Elon Musk came from money, and then he got to go to the good schools, and then he just kept buying influence and kept buying companies. And now he's snuggled up to the president, and he's talking dumb stuff. Talking dumb stuff. For someone that has been handed everything, he was handed the world. And then he's going to tell you that you need to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and you need to make the decisions that will benefit you. But it seems to me like he's pulling the rug out from under all of you guys that think that you're part of the fucking cool kids club, and you're just not. You're just not. Rich people don't care. Rich people don't want you there. Rich people don't want you there, like climbing the Capitol and breaking in and stuff like that. Rich people don't do that. Rich people buy influence. They buy politicians so they don't have to climb on the Capitol. They don't have to, do all this corny stuff that they're convincing you guys that you have to do because you're a patriot. Meanwhile, when it comes time to actually like signing up to be in the military and actually defending and actually being a patriot, all of a sudden everyone wants bone spurs and all kinds of stuff. But when it comes to doing all this foolishness in your own homeland against your own people, you guys are down for that. But when it comes to strapping them on and getting out there and actually doing the proper fighting, you guys hide in the shadows. Get the fuck out of here.
Hopefully at the end of this video, when you look at someone who's incredibly successful or rich, you'll give it a second thought and think of the sacrifices they've made to get to where they are today. If you're one of those easily offended types, and this is the first video you're watching on our channel, well, this is your cue to close the video and go watch something else. The
Not me, girl. Let's go.
The average reality of multiple multimillionaires and billionaires from multiple countries and cultures, aggregated into a single list. But there isn't a single individual out there who made it big without making at least some of these sacrifices to...
Who hasn't at least gotten a few $1 million from their parents.
To where they are today. So with that said, here are 15 things people sacrifice in order to get rich. Starting off at number 1, family. Now, we wanted to start with family because this is the last thing people want to hear that they'll have to sacrifice. Many successful individuals postpone starting a family for a later date. They start one only after they've accumulated success. This is probably one of the most important sacrifices one makes in order to be rich. The road to financial success demands so much focus and effort put into it that it would be almost impossible to achieve the same level of greatness.
This is a very good point. This is very true. Holding off to make a family and stuff, like there's a saying, you can only serve one master. So either start a family and grow that, or start your pathway to riches, because it needs focus. Unless you have family members that understand what you're about to do, and they can be like your support system and even the staff that helps you get up to that level, you would need a very special family group to be able to do that as a group. I've seen it done. But for the most part, if you're doing it by yourself, like I saw pictures of Jeff Bezos sitting in a room by himself, and he had like a really bad Amazon sign behind him. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to take a large sacrifice and time away from your family to be able to actually put the pieces in place. So I agree with her.
If you're being sidetracked by personal feelings, well, that's just the truth. Successful people don't get married early on, almost never in their 20s. And for sure, they don't have...
I just saw a video with I forgot his name, but he was Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins was talking about how he's been married multiple times and stuff like that, and that's just kind of proof of what this point is you can try to start a family, but the family is going to suffer. The quality of the relationships in the family will suffer because you have to put so much attention to growing your empire, I guess.
Children as soon as the rest. We've touched on this in the past, how having a kid early on is pretty much financial self-destruction, trapping you into the rat race in order for you to acquire wealth. This process needs your undivided attention. The moment one has a child, that child immediately becomes the focus point, and everything else falls behind, as it should be. Now, a third aspect that gets sacrificed is the relationship with your family. Parents and siblings require time, effort, and sometimes financial resources as well, all which you are not in a position to spare in the beginning stages of your journey. So if you're serious about getting rich, it sucks to say that you won't be available for your relatives, but you're not going to focus on building a family for yourself at this stage of your life. And that's why you'll postpone having a child. This is one of the harshest realities of which most successful and rich individuals sacrifice in order to get there. Number 2, health. Now, we've always mentioned health as one of the most important ingredients to a successful life, but this video focuses on getting rich. The paradox is that most people sacrifice health in order to get money, and then they sacrifice money in order to regain their health. Yeah. We'd all like to believe the iconic image of the entrepreneur working 16 hours a day, hitting the gym for 2 more hours, eating kale and meditating for at least 1 hour in the morning. The truth is, the road to riches will take a toll on your health. The most common feeling is that of tiredness, because most individuals have difficulty falling asleep. The goal keeps you up at night. There are worries to consider, and everything depends on your ability to manage them. Entrepreneurs live with a tremendous amount of stress in their lives. They usually neglect their health in the pursuit of happiness. Number 3.
Yeah, that's a fine line, but even when in my busiest, when I was working in advertising or down in Hollywood or in Silicon Valley, I always tried to make it a point to make sure that fitness was incorporated into my day. So I would wake up a little early, and then, I'd give myself that hour or 2 in the gym, because otherwise it's not worth it. To me, it's not worth making a bunch of money if you're just going to spend it on medication and stuff to keep you alive. It's just not worth it. So if you, in the beginning stages of all of this, make sure that you have fitness built into your day. And for me, I have little excuses to get away from the desk. So I'll go and I'll take my dogs for a walk and, and be gone for an hour or so for this walk. And now I'm starting to get back into the gym and lifting weights and stuff like that, because again, fitness for me is very important to me. Sacrificing my health for money, it's not a good exchange.
Friends. There is very little room for a social life when you really want to be rich. One of the first things you should sacrifice if you want to make it is the people around you who are not pushing you further. Cutting down on the toxic individuals is a must, then followed by those.
Facts. Stop wasting your time on people that continue to introduce drama into your life. That's not even in pursuit of being rich. That's just a wonderful life lesson. Like, there's people out there that aren't happy until everyone else is miserable. You gotta get away from that stuff. Keep your path clear. And if people keep throwing obstacles into your path, you have to ask them or ignore them or whatever it takes to get them away from you so you can clear your path.
Not actively making you better. It's fairly common for successful people to dramatically reduce their inner circle with a focus on the quality of individuals. The average future millionaire has 1.8 close friends, and they themselves are also focused on getting rich. That way, they can push each other further along the way. You need people who can...
If you want to make movies, if you want to make animations, if you want to make games, if you want to make apps, if you want to do any of that stuff, find yourself some people that understand where you're trying to be in life and get there. And you can get there together. And it can be your family members. That's what's important. That way you can kill two birds with one stone. You can build a company with your family members, spending quality time because you guys care about each other. And at the same time, they understand that the ultimate goal is to do this stuff so you guys can build your relationship and build a company at the same time.
Your struggles and who can understand why they're putting in this kind of effort. Nobody else is going to understand, with the exception of individuals who they themselves are doing the same thing. If you really want to make it, your inner circle should decrease in size, but increase in value.
Yeah.
Number 4, hobbies. Hobbies, by their nature, produce very little value to both yourself and your immediate environment. Not only that, in order to maintain a hobby, it demands time, attention, and most of the time, financial resources as well. If you want to be rich and you're not where you want to be in life, you can't afford to have a hobby. That's just the truth. You can go golfing, paint landscapes, or whatever you find worthy of calling your hobby after you've taken care of the basics.
Number 1, why is he putting with a wedge? Just saying. And 2, golfing, and you can turn your hobby into a money-making opportunity. Look at YouTube. I have always wanted to make films. I have always wanted to draw. I have always wanted to animate. I've always wanted to tell stories. That's my hobby, and now I'm leveraging everything that I've learned and everything that I have wanted to do into a YouTube channel, and here we are. You get to watch me pursue my goals, doing my hobby, and getting better at the things that I want to do. So I understand the point that she's trying to make. However, it is possible. There's a lot of people that cook. Cooking is their hobby. So they started a cooking channel, or they get a food truck, or whatever the case may be. So I understand the point that she's trying to make. However, you can easily make money by keeping your hobbies. And if you do your hobbies, it'll help you find those people, again, that, filmmakers. You do your hobby, you build relationships with those people that understand your hobby, that maybe have the same hobby, and then you guys can work together on making that money.
Why do you have a hobby when you can't take care of yourself? Hobbies should be the last thing on your mind.
Not to mention, hobbies are good for your brain. Hobbies keep you motivated and keep you locked in. If all you're doing is chasing after money and that stuff, like, people are going to find you kind of tacky, and they're not going to want to hang out with you anyway.
Number 5, time. The road from zero to financial success will take an average of 7 to 10 years depending on the industry. Your emotional intelligence, your intellect, your ability to play the market, and the volume of work you're able to put out in order to make it happen. And guess what? The days you spend at your computer or negotiating with clients are probably not going to be the best years of your life, but it's a sacrifice, one that needs to be made if you're serious about getting rich, because it's that time that yields the results you're looking for. 7 years might sound like a lot of time, and it doesn't mean that those years will lack any kind of positive memory. Time will pass either way, so make sure to invest it wisely. Ask yourself the following question. Are you willing to eat shit for several years in order to eat caviar for the rest of your life? Well, if the answer is yes, you're on the right track. And at this stage, the very best way for you to use your time is to invest in yourself as often as you possibly can. We want to see you win the game of life, okay? But to do that, you have to consistently win the day. Number 6, sadly, is happiness. Happiness is a big one because, as you know, money can't buy you happiness in the end. But in order to get that money in the first place, you will need to sacrifice some of your happiness to a certain degree. And this is true even if you love.
They make it sound so attractive. You're going to be miserable, but at least you'll be rich.
You do. Nobody is happy working 14 to 16 hours every single day. That is not how evolution designed us. So there needs to be a balance between the amount of happiness you're willing to sacrifice in exchange for material gain. If you sacrifice too much, you might not be able to cope with your new reality. Now, this video is not a to-do list of some kind. It's a frank observation of reality, and you should treat it as such. Sacrificing your happiness at this stage will result in you being able to enjoy different types of happiness in the future, like being able to spend quality time with your child when the time is right, because you won't have to worry about paying the freaking bills every month. That's a trade you should be willing to make. And at number 7, we've got another
Do we need to be aware, or do we need to be preoccupied, or whatever? Like, they're telling us, they're telling us you have to eat shit, you have to be miserable, you have to give up your health, you have to give up your family, you have to give it just to be rich. In the Bible, it says it's easier for, It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is a rich man to go to heaven. Like, is it worth it? Is it worth it to kill yourself and to go through this misery and eat shit sandwiches and all this stuff just for money and, I guess, power? And we're seeing how many rich, powerful people are trying to run the country. And they all seem miserable. Is it worth it? That's a question. Let me know in the comments if you think all this stuff, now we're gonna sacrifice sleep. Christ, there's so many important things that keep you healthy, happy. And these folks are trying to convince you to give up on all that stuff, so then eventually when you're rich, you can take medication and then maybe possibly reach out and hang out with your friends and family. It sounds like you and I, the normal people, we really have to go through we have to get spanked and we have to go through the paces. But yet there's people that are already rich that have been given handouts. But when we ask for help and we ask for the government to do what the government is supposed to do, then we're the freeloaders and we're the ones that do you see the oxymoron that is all of this? Maybe that's why everyone with money is cranky, because they don't sleep good, they don't exercise good, their family hates them, their friends think they're douchebags. You guys think that that's worth it? Oh boy.
Controversial one: sleep. Now, you can't sleep, okay? Broke people sleep. You've got to be willing to sacrifice some sleep. Sleep is for billionaires. That's an interesting quote, isn't it? In recent years, people are pretty split on this topic, right? You've got people like Elon Musk who sleep the absolute minimum amount required to get him to function, and then there are people like Ariana Huffington. She's the founder of Huffington Post, for those of you who don't know who she is. She says sleeping more results in higher productivity and nobody should cut down on sleep. Sleeping less is an amazing advantage if you make quality use of the time while you're awake. There's no point in sleeping 5 hours a night if you're only going to be working 8 hours during the day. Sleep is the first thing anyone should sacrifice when they begin their journey. 6 hours of sleep a night is really manageable, and you can fit a lot more work in during the day. So start by trimming that sleep. Number 8, who you are. If you want to be rich, you want to be successful, you need to sacrifice who you are in order to become who you want to be.
Anyone else feel like You're making a deal with the devil? Is it just me? What do you guys think? Is this like you're sacrificing you're sacrificing 15 very important things? It to me, this is like a deal with the devil.
Pretty smart to think of yourself in terms of a work in progress. Similar to software, this is your current version, but don't be afraid to make updates. Fix bugs and reiterate whatever makes you, you. Your current reality didn't make you rich. The current version of you wasn't able to solve the puzzles needed to further your achievements from a financial standpoint, so you need to do something about it. Evaluate who you really are. What are the things that set you back? What are the things that the current version of yourself failed to do? Then, seek ways to transform yourself in that department. An easy aspect.
I will say, to clarify this to something that I would like to point out, that don't sacrifice who you are as a person. More, change the way you let people see who you are. Change the way people talk about you. You know what I mean? Like, don't let people call you whatever name or tell stories that just aren't true about you. Or clarify your position in that story. People tell stories about other people, and their view of that story or their view of that situation could be completely warped. Not everyone has the information that they need about every single situation. So you have to be careful with how people talk about you. So if you're going to change anything, it would be that. I'm telling you, or I'm suggesting to you to change that part. Change the way that people see you if it matters to you. Change the way people talk about you if it matters to you. And to a certain extent, it should, because there's outside people who hear stories about you, and that can influence what positions you might be available for, what opportunities you might be available for. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that will, and then there's a lot of people who will use those stories and that information against you too. So you have to be diligent with how people talk about you. So if you're going to change anything, it's going to be that. But that's like outside you. You know who you are. If you're a good person, don't let anybody else be out here in the streets talking about you in any negative way. Clear all that right up.
Point out is discipline. Because if you lack discipline, you're probably never going to be successful. Poor people always lack discipline. This is because success in any form comes from repetitive actions which add up over time. Unless you can discipline yourself, you won't stand a chance. Number 9, entertainment. So after sleep, this is the second thing people who want to get rich should sacrifice. There's no need for you to sit down and watch 10 episodes of Friends. There is no value in that, okay? Poor people always justify wasting time in one form or another. If you're just starting out, as we know most of you are, immediately cut out the low and medium levels of entertainment in your life. Unless you're a professional esports player, there's no need for you to be spending time playing video games. There's no need for you to watch sports or TV for that matter at all, unless you're the one on TV. There's no need for you to be on social media unless you're running a media business. This is not a video on how to be happy in life, okay? This is a video on what it takes to get rich. You need all of your creative power and working hours to be put in and compounded into you achieving your goal.
Along that path too, if you're like me and you are trying to start your YouTube channel and you're trying to tell your stories and you're trying to make movies and stuff like that. Well, actually for me it's different because I kind of watch movies and shows and I kind of dissect them and I study them as well as enjoying them. I love telling stories as well as hearing stories. And so it makes a little bit more sense but this is kind of in the direction where I want to go in. But I have strictly limited myself to, I'm barely on Facebook ever anymore. X or Twitter, barely on that anymore. I am on Instagram, but that's because I get to, I get to share some drawings and all that stuff. But for the most part, I'm here on YouTube. I want to put videos on YouTube. I make shorts on YouTube. I'm trying to post more drawings on YouTube. And if you're trying to find me, I'm on YouTube. I watch YouTube. I study YouTube. I don't spend a lot of time watching TV on the daily, and I become very strict with who I allow to interrupt me during my workday, because this is my work. This is what I do for a living now. And even if I'm sitting on the couch, I'm still drawing or animating or working on my craft. So I might watch whatever show, whatever series, whatever movie, but I'm still working. And again, I'm dissecting the shows. I'm dissecting the movies to see how they do things. And it also inspires me to shoot my movies and I got a couple music videos that I'm working on. It inspires me to look at those different projects in different ways. I agree with her. You need to be very careful how you spend your days. You won't see me playing video games right now because I just don't have the time. I have all this other stuff to happen, or I have all this other stuff to make happen. But eventually I'll probably start playing video games if I ever get into developing video games. I worked at a video game company back in the day, doing artwork, 3D modeling and stuff like that. So that stuff does interest me. But for now, I don't, Candy Crush. Candy Crush is all I need. Candy Crush and Wordle.
Can't half-ass this, okay? Because if you half-ass it, you're gonna fail. Number 10, stability. Getting rich is a roller coaster. It'll take a lot of ups and downs until you reach the destination. You don't know what tomorrow holds, and you don't have the luxury of being at ease. You need to move yourself, to position yourself, to meet new people, to negotiate your own reality and provide for yourself.
Right.
Since nobody's going to go get it for you, if you believe your environment is keeping you from being succcessful, sacrifice it, okay? Move somewhere else. You are in control of this ride. If it
That's why it always freaks people out maybe when I tell them, I've lived in Chicago, Rockford. I went to Europe when I was in the military. I lived in Miami, LA, San Diego, and now Sonoma. I'm testing things out to see. My grand plan has always been to make cartoons, make movies, tell stories, I've always wanted to be an artist. I've always wanted to be an illustrator. I've always wanted to be a movie maker. I've always wanted to edit videos. I've always wanted to do those things. But I never knew quite the path to get there because, again, I come from a lower class, minority, inner city, all those things. So all those folks knew were to get up, go to work in a factory or an office building. No one knew how to get me into animation or film. I had to figure all that out by myself. So I went to all these cities where everyone thought were cool and possibly there were jobs and stuff like that. And so I would go and I'd test it out. And if it wasn't for me, I'd pull up stakes. You can't be afraid to do that. There was an animator that lives and works in Los Angeles that once told me when I was interviewing him for a podcast, he said, if you want to fish, you have to go to the pond. So if you're in the middle of nowhere, you might get lucky. You might be able to focus on your artwork and you might be able to submit your resume, or someone sees you on Instagram or something like that and they like your work and you might get lucky enough to find a job that way. But for the most part, especially if you're trying to get into animation, into special effects, into movie making, all that stuff, you have to go to LA because they are more likely to hire someone that is local than it is to try to figure out how to make it work for you.
Doesn't work out, you're the only one who's to blame. Although the journey is a roller coaster, the ride is worth it, so get busy. Number 11, income. You might not like to hear this, but until you make it big, you need to sacrifice your share of the income. You put it right back into the business or project until you make it. There's just no other way, all right? You're not going to be a baller while you're still pushing toward it. Every single dollar needs to be carefully planned out where it should have the most impact to go toward.
These are facts. I 100% agree with this. Um, you know how people are sometimes house poor? They have a beautiful house, but the mortgage is too crazy, so they're just basically working to pay the mortgage. I'm film equipment poor. All the money that I make now, I do freelance work, and the little bit of money that I'm getting from YouTube, for the most part, it goes to some bills, but for the most part, that stuff goes right back into the business. And now I'm doing more video work, getting slowly but surely gaining more clients. When it comes to investing in my own company and equipment that I have and or need, I don't hesitate to do that because I know that equipment is going to make me money. You won't see me spending money on clothing or name brand stuff or a nice big fancy car. You won't see me doing that. But you will see me going nuts on camera equipment and green screens, and I even have a green screen suit. Like, I don't hesitate to acquire the stuff that I need to accomplish my ultimate goal, and that is to be an independent filmmaker.
Actually, yourself, you are pretty far down the list unless you're going to use that money to develop your own set of skills. This is just reality, okay? Whenever you see people flaunting their purchases without them being where they want to be in life, we feel bad for them as they're actively sabotaging themselves here.
That's
Number
facts.
12, comfort.
Facts.
Unless you're born rich, you'll have to struggle to get there and sacrifices need to be made. The simplest way is to sacrifice comfort and then use the cash to accelerate your growth. It is mind-boggling how many people blow away their money on meaningless things that they perceive as comfort. You don't need that new iPhone. Your old one still works perfectly fine. You don't need to live in a big house or apartment in your 20s. Cut down on rent and use the remaining cash somewhere productive.
I'm going to be controversial. If your family life allows you to stay home for as long as you possibly can and you're saving money, do that. Do that. Because right when you go out into the world, everyone has their hand out, whether it's the government and the taxes, or YouTube and YouTube Premium, or Netflix, the Netflix account, where everybody has their hand out. So if you can stay home and build yourself into a self-sustaining being, and then you move out into the world and you have a clear picture of what the world is actually like, wait to do that. And then if you are out on your own and you're in your 20s, stuff like that, don't waste your time on a big ass house. Don't waste your time on a fancy apartment. I spent money on my fancy apartment when I worked in Hollywood, but that was because I lived a block away from work. So I didn't use my car all that much. I could do groceries after work, or even during lunchtime. Sometimes I'd go to the Trader Joe's right there and then go across the street and put my groceries away, eat a little sandwich, and then go to work, So my apartment was a little more expensive than if I was, say, out in Inland Empire or whatever, but the time and gas money that I was saving living that close was far better than moving somewhere farther just to have a cheaper apartment.
poor people stay poor by trying to look rich, while rich people are busy getting richer by acting like they're poor. Many
Yeah.
highly successful
Kanye is a very good example of that. Kanye is out here selling you guys on stuff and telling you guys, buy this, buy this, buy this. And then you're going broke trying to buy Yeezys and stuff. Meanwhile, Kanye is doing exactly what Kanye wants to do. I think he's out in Paris right now working on a new album in Paris. And at least you got some Yeezys.
individuals refer to this period as their ramen phase. It's the time when you cut down on comfort so much, you survive on the bare minimum. There's no need for comfort. Get yourself some ramen noodles and get to work.
Get to pushing.
Number 13, the need to be liked. Disagreeable people are a lot more likely to become rich and successful than agreeable people. This is a fact, okay? Not an opinion. In order for people to like you, one needs to sacrifice oneself for the good of the other. That's how it works. But who's seeing growth and who isn't? This doesn't mean you should become an asshole or anything, okay? It just means you need to focus on yourself first and sacrifice the need to be liked by others. If others will like you for who you are and what you're doing, that's fine, but you'll never go out of your way to make that happen.
If you want a really good book that helps illustrate this, what's it called? The Courage to Be Disliked or something like that. Get that book because it teaches you that what people think about you, people are going to think about you however they want anyway. So it doesn't matter for you to sit there and worry about what they're thinking about you. It doesn't serve you at all. And it doesn't make you a bad person to mind your own damn business. If people want to be running in the streets and doing all kinds of stuff, that's fine. I would rather be here working on YouTube videos and writing films and doing animations and doing drawings and stuff like that. That is building my portfolio. That's building my empire more than worrying about what people are going to say about me. I don't care. The only thing you're going to be able to say about me is that kid shows up, he works hard, and he doesn't stop. That's it. Anything past that, they're lying.
Getting rich is about getting the job done, not by being the most popular person in the room.
Yeah.
Number 14.
I'll be popular with you if you're paying bills. If you are investing in me and my vision and everything that I have going on, then I'll probably listen to what you're saying. But unless you're putting money on the table, I'm sorry. And I'm sorry it doesn't make me a jerk to tell you that I don't care what you think. I don't care what you're saying. I don't care.
You do what you have to do to make it happen. If you're too proud to work at a fast food joint through the night while you're working on a project, you'll never be able to make it because pride is counterproductive. You don't need to think of what other people will think of you, mostly because people will only really care about themselves anyway. You do you, okay? Maintain focus on your goals, on your objective.
Okay, I'm going to push back on this just a little bit. Working at McDonald's, stuff like that, you have to take a look at how to better spend your time. McDonald's, they're barely paying minimum wage. So $15 an hour or whatever it is. Let's just say $15 an hour. If you can make a sacrifice to not do that, and possibly use that time to go out and find client work and do client work, that client work is going to pay more than wasting time at a McDonald's. Now, if you need money and you need money yesterday, if you have families and kids and all that stuff, then, you know, have at it. Like go work at a gas station or go work at McDonald's, whatever. But for the most part, you have to get more bang for your buck. Why would I ever spend time working at a McDonald's if I can make money making YouTube videos, if I can make money out there pounding the pavement, trying to drum up client work? pride to a certain extent. If you have to, okay, I get it. But there's other ways that you can make money following your path. It wouldn't make sense for me to work at a McDonald's because number one, I did that in high school. And number two, it's taking me away from my path. It's taking me away from being able to focus on creating more videos that will then show my clients what I'm able to do, or new clients what I'm able to do. And then we can work together and create content or create videos or make movies or design a poster or whatever for people that need that work done.
Make your dream become a reality. Trust us when we say everybody respects the winner. You just have to get there. So put your head down, sacrifice the pride you have, and make it happen for yourself and your future family. That is how you win.
With an asterisk.
And number 15, immediate desires. People are always seeking immediate gratification from even the slightest of efforts. That's what makes the difference between those who are going to make it and those who just want to portray the image that they are. If you stick to the plan, put in consistent amounts of work and improvement, you're bound to see positive results. The process here is pretty linear. As soon as you get that first glimpse of success, it's easy to fall into the trap of congratulating yourself for the lap instead of focusing on winning the race. What usually happens is while you're busy fulfilling immediate desires, you stray off course and end up with that small win as your highest point. Do you want a small win or do you want a big win? Stay focused, Aluxer. These are the current rules of the game of money. You are probably hoping for an easy fix, but the truth is that people who do make it to that level are highly intelligent individuals who are driven, disciplined, focused, and they sacrifice almost everything for their career journey. The expense for the success you seek is a great one. So think twice if you really want it and what you're willing to do to achieve it. And you know we've got a bonus fact for you for watching until the end, right?
Okay,
Here it is.
This might be horseshit.
Number 16. These sacrifices are short-term versus long-term rewards. So after looking at this list, you might think, who in their right mind would sacrifice their family just for money? Well, in order for this video to not be wrongfully interpreted, we want to make this clear. You can have everything, okay? You can have a loving family, a close group of friends, a healthy lifestyle, the social status, and the comfort you want. You just need to postpone them by a couple of years. The alternative is living an unfulfilled life, a life cursed by the question of what if and trying to justify other people's hard work as luck or good fortune. These are the realities of what it takes to—
Meanwhile, it was lucky and good fortune for Trump to have a rich father. It was lucky and fortunate for Elon to come from money, to have parents that made money from a gem mine. It was fortunate for Vivek Ramaswamy to buy up a failed medicine and then to change the marketing behind it and then sell this failed medicine for a bunch of money. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, there is a lot of luck and fortune. So, yeah, it is a lot to say about hard work, but there's some of us out here that have been lucky and fortunate to have won the lottery of being rich and white.
all. Work hard when they won't, so you can enjoy a life they can't. It's always interesting to see how many people fail to watch even this video until the end.
All right, so there you go. 15, nay, 16. I forgot about the bonus one. 16 sacrifices you need to make if you want to be rich. And these folks, not for anything, but they made it sound like you're making a deal with the devil. You have to give up so much just for a little bit of money. And unfortunately for normal folks like us, we don't get to go to all the good schools. We have to do that by ourselves. We don't get the benefit of knowing powerful people that open the doors for us. We have to go out there and we have to hustle. We have to work on our resumes and get our resumes in front of people. We have to play tricks with the resumes, and we have to play tricks with all the things that we need to do to convince someone to give us an opportunity to possibly maybe make a little bit of money. Hard work, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, all that good stuff, that refers to you and me. This lucky shit that she was talking about, that no, not everything is lucky, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of lucky people running the country right now. And I'm talking more than just Elon and Donnie and Vivek. I'm talking all those cats. All of them. Both sides of the argument. When I talk to you, when I'm talking my mess about this stuff, I'm talking about the haves and the have-nots. Because the haves, I've seen a delightful array of colors with the people that have money, and none of those people are worried about what you and I have to say. I hope you liked this video. I hope you learned something. I know I did. I hope you learned something in this video. I know I did. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with each and every one of your friends. And if you want to come hang out with me while we watch videos and I work on creative projects, hit that subscribe button and then click the bell. So that way, every time I come out with something new, you'll be alerted. Don't forget to go to coconutjustice.com to get you some dope gear. And with that, I'm out.
Coconut Justice.